Hi everyone. I am Burçin Mutlu Pakdil, and today I will talk you about the painted satellite systems in local volume, and with the emphasis of NGC 253. So, does this work? I see it. Yes. So we heard amazing progress happening in the local group, right? But we all love local group. But at the end, we need, let's see if I can manage to do this. Yes, sub-halo properties as a function of host mass and host environment. And here, sub-host properties, you can put satellite luminosity function, star formation fractions, name it, it is up to you. But at the end, to be able to really put our local group into context and really understand constraints from dwarf galaxies, we need these properties. So with this goal in mind, we indeed started a survey with Magellan MegaCam. Dave Sand already did a great introduction to this survey. So what we did, we targeted SEN-A and NGC 253, two separate Milky Way mass galaxies that are substantially different environments. So again, shout out to Deja Kronovich work for SEN-A, but here I will talk mostly about NGC 253 because I led the survey, so I need to advertise it. So here, why you should care about NGC 253. It is an effectively isolated Milky Way mass galaxy, which gives us an amazing opportunity to probe a substantially different low-dense environment, right? So what you are seeing here, NGC 253 at the center, this is the region that we mapped with Magellan MegaCam. In early stages of the survey, we discovered two satellites, amazing. And then recently we find three more. You can see these are the Magellan images, right? You can see some resolved stars on the top of unresolved light. So remember, we discovered these systems with a 6.5-meter telescope. So to really confirm them, we need to resolve the stars. So we need a space telescope resolution, and we got that. We follow up with HST and resolve them, and we indeed find them. They are at the same distance with NGC 253, so they are indeed the satellites. But interestingly, and I should, of course, show the color magnitude diagrams. This is the first two classical dwarfs that we discovered, and interestingly, three dwarfs that we discovered are ultra-faint dwarf galaxies. So they are actually the first confirmed ultra-faint dwarf galaxies that are found around a distant Milky Way mass host. And interestingly, they are just like the ultra-faints that we discovered around Milky Way. So good. And since we completed the survey, we did derive our detection efficiencies by injecting fake dwarf galaxies and running our pipeline. And from that, and I am showing our efficiency with the luminosity size plot. And you can see, and the yellow is high efficiency, blue means low detectability. And we clearly can see we are complete down to absolute magnitude -8, reaching almost ultra faint regime. That's incredible. But now, in addition to this, so we probe out to 100 kiloparsec with Pisces. But interestingly, recently, the Beyond Pisces survey, Martinez Delgado suggested a plane of satellite around NGC 253. So this tiny region is our survey region. These are as you can see, this is the suggested plane of satellite. So other plane of satellites are suggested around three more systems, Milky Way, M31, and Cene. But it's a whole controversy whether this is these satellites, these observed satellites around these three systems are indeed a challenge for Lambda CDM, or whether there are specific conditions that favor their emergence, or they are just rare outliers. So NGC-253, the fact that it lives in an isolated environment gives us an important way to test this, because since it is living in a low dense environment, there is no major merger that could cause a formation or redistribution of satellites. But NGC-253, there are around NGC-253, there are 4 satellites that didn't have distance measurements. So, and interestingly, 3 of them were outside this plane of satellite, weakening the argument. So we follow up these systems with HSD, and indeed resolved 3 of them, confirming that they are indeed satellite of NGC-253, but the Sculptor SR is a background galaxy. So it is also highlighting the importance of following up these systems before we do the interpretations. Okay, now let's revisit, with the given confirmed satellites, revisit the plane of satellite. Again, I am highlighting the Pisces survey here. And now that we confirm these 2 systems, which are away from the proposed satellite, weakens the argument for the extremeness of the plane. And I want to highlight one more thing. NGC-247 is a LMC mass host, LMC mass system, which we expect based on the Lambda CDM to have its own satellites. So if you mark its own halo, right? Do you see a satellite now, the plane of satellite? It seems more normal to explain, right? With the when we think about the NGC 247 subgroup. So with all these, we suggested that it's the normal distribution consistent with Lambda CDM. In fact, later that using our confirmed distances, Martinez Delgado also with using more quantitative estimations, they confirmed our suggestion, saying that there's no plane of satellite around NGC-253. So, okay, other than the plane of satellites, now that we have the faint satellites of NGC-253, we can actually compare it with other known systems, especially the satellite luminosity function. And here that you see the red one is NGC-253, and interestingly, it is consistent with M94 and M101, other 2 systems that live in relatively low dense environment. So the slope of satellite luminosity function, it seems like there is a environmental dependence for the slope of satellite luminosity function. Interesting. Okay, now we can look more trends with our sample, right? We can look at the satellite abundance versus dominant mergers mass. Smirchin et al. Suggested a very, very tight relationship, as you can see, for a dominant merger mass. This is the abundance, right? We see a very tight relationship, but it seems like NGC-253 is an outlier. While M51 looks like an outlier also, it is an incomplete sample, so it might have more satellites, so it's in a lower bound. But NGC-253, we know that we are complete out to 300 kiloparsec for at least this absolute magnitude. So it is interesting. What about satellite abundance versus host stellar mass? Danieli et al. Look at the L sample, which we heard about, right? And they suggested this relationship for their sample. And we looked at this for our sample with including fainter systems. And we clearly see a nice trend. And again, NGC 253 seems odd. What's going on with NGC 253? But then we look at, there's also another paper from Bennett et al. Suggesting there might be a relationship with environment, suggesting an isolated host would have fewer satellites than their counterparts in dense environments. Oops, spoilers. Okay, and now when we look at this, actually, on the environment probed by tidal index, we see NGC 253 is no longer an outlier. So then we look this in L sample, right? Because this is in, we are including fainter systems. What about in brighter systems, will it work? We look at this. Again, it is recreating the plot from Danieli. And now we are looking at the sample with including the elves. And it seems like there is a nice trend. And the outliers in host stellar mass are no longer outliers in this relationship. But immediately, I know you all are noticing, oh my God, coming. Okay, see these two systems that are outliers. But interestingly, they are the only systems that are elliptical galaxies. The rest of our hosts are spiral galaxies. And interestingly, another group suggested that there is actually a dependence based on the morphology, suggesting at the same host mass, elliptical galaxies would have more satellites. This works well. So the point I am trying to make is the importance of host stellar mass, environment, and morphology. We are seeing all these trends pointing a complex picture of satellite formation, and any simulations that we have should be able to reproduce these trends. Last final thing that I want to highlight, in addition to satellite abundance, we also check the star formation histories, and we see trend, right, for both of them, but actually for host stellar mass, we see a tighter trend relative to the environment, and it seems like it makes sense because higher stellar host mass would imply a larger halo mass, increasing gravitational tidal interactions and enhance ram pressure, which would, if ram pressure and tidal index, tidal heights are indeed play an important role in quenching, then this relation makes sense. With this, I have my takeaway notes. We need to study dwarf galaxies beyond the local group, and Pisces provides a unique window to the low dense environments, and no evidence for plane of satellites around NGC 253. We've seen the trends, and simulations should be able to reproduce them. Thank you.